I would say that anything is possible and, to dream big. I think me as a person, I'm very ambitious and I think that I make a difference. That's what the only thing I can do to give back to my country is to help inspire.
Congratulations on your win. What is the key for your rhythm and consistency? And I would like to know if you have a ritual or a specific preparation before you go on court.
What you're about to hear sounds impossible. A 20-year-old tennis player stages one of the most dramatic comebacks of the season, only to face accusations that no clean athlete could do what she just did. I'm bringing you a story from Abu Dhabi that goes way beyond the baseline. We're talking about Alexandra Eala, the Filipino sensation who just pulled off something so extraordinary that her opponent's coach marched straight into tournament officials' offices demanding an emergency drug test. Yeah, you heard that right. An emergency drug test, not because of a routine check, because they literally couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed on court. Let me paint the picture for you. The Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open is serious business, a WTA 500 tournament with elite players fighting for millions in prize money and crucial ranking points. Alexandra Eala, just 20 years old, has been turning heads all season. She's not some unknown wild card anymore. This is a player who's proven she can hang with top 50 opponents on any given day. Her second-round opponent? Alexandra Sasnovich from Belarus, a battle-tested veteran with over a decade on tour. The kind of player who's seen everything, knows every trick, and specializes in grinding down younger opponents until they crack. And honestly, the match started exactly like you'd expect. Sasnovich came out firing. She moved Eala around like a chess piece, painting lines, controlling every exchange. The first set was a masterclass 6-2, and it wasn't even close. Eala looked lost out there. Her timing was off, her footwork sluggish. It looked like she'd stayed up all night or something. We all thought we were watching a routine straight set beatdown, but then something shifted in the second set. Eala started finding her rhythm. She began reading Sasnovich's patterns, anticipating shots. More importantly, she fed off the crowd. And let me tell you, the Filipino fans in Abu Dhabi are legendary. They don't just watch tennis. They create an atmosphere that can lift their player to another level entirely. When Eala started pumping her fist, engaging with that crowd, the entire stadium erupted. She clawed her way back, broke Sasnovich's serve, and took the second set 6-4. We were headed to a decider. Nothing unusual so far, right? Veteran takes the first set, youngster battles back. Classic tennis drama. But here's where things get wild. Sasnovich wasn't about to let some upstart ruin her tournament. She came out in the third set like a woman possessed. Break, hold, break again. Before anyone could blink, she was up 4-0 in the deciding set. 4-love in a final set. That's basically a death sentence in professional tennis. Players come back from that deficit less than 1% of the time. The stats are brutal, the crowd went silent. Eala's shoulders started to sag. Even her coaching team looked defeated. In the Sasnovich box, they were already thinking about the quarterfinals. The coach leaned back in his chair, probably planning where to celebrate dinner that night. For all practical purposes, this match was over. And then Alexandra Eala did something nobody saw coming. She didn't just find another gear. According to multiple witnesses, what happened next seemed to defy basic human physiology. Remember, Eala had been on court for nearly 2 hours at this point. She'd been sprinting corner to corner, lunging for shots, burning massive amounts of energy trying to keep pace with Sasnovich's heavy ground strokes. By every reasonable measure, she should have been hitting the wall. Her legs should have felt like concrete. Her shots should have been slowing down. Instead, she looked like she'd just stepped onto the court fresh from a week of rest. Her footwork went from heavy to lightning quick. Her ground strokes started exploding off the racket with increasing pace. Between points, she was bouncing on her toes like someone whose energy reserves had somehow been completely refilled. She held serve. 4-1. Then she broke back. 4-2. Sasnovich looked frustrated but not worried yet. She'd seen young players make desperate final pushes before. But Eala held again. 4-3. The Filipino fans were back on their feet, absolutely losing it. Then came the point that changed everything. At 4-3, Sasnovich hit what should have been a match-winning drop shot. Perfect touch, barely cleared the net, died on the court with almost no bounce. Eala was miles behind the baseline, moving in the wrong direction. By every law of physics and geometry, there was no way she should have reached that ball. But she didn't just reach it. Witnesses, including neutral journalists, described what happened next as one of the most explosive displays of speed they'd ever seen on a tennis court. Eala took off like an Olympic sprinter out of the blocks, eating up the distance with mechanical precision. She slid into the shot perfectly, maintaining impossible balance, and flicked the ball down the line with pinpoint accuracy. Baseline. On the line. Winner. The crowd went absolutely insane. But in the Sasnovich box, her coach sat bolt upright, his relaxed posture gone. Witnesses said his expression mixed disbelief with something darker. Lip readers later reported Sasnovich herself muttering, "How is that possible?" That single point planted the seed of what came next. The momentum became unstoppable. Eala broke again to level at 4-4-4. Then she held for 5-4, putting herself one game away from one of the most improbable comebacks in recent WTA history. The stadium was shaking with noise. Meanwhile, the Sasnovich camp was watching with growing suspicion. They noticed things the casual fan wouldn't. How Eala showed no signs of labored breathing. How her ground strokes weren't slowing down after 3 hours. They were speeding up. How she moved between points with almost hyperactive energy that seemed impossible under the circumstances. Sasnovich, by contrast, was showing exactly what you'd expect from a player deep into a grueling 3-set battle. Heavy breathing, slow movement between points, the normal human response to exhaustion. But Eala? She looked like she could play another 3 hours. The match went to a 3rd-set tiebreaker. Winner takes all. Eala faced match point, staring elimination in the face. No fear, no hesitation. When Sasnovich thought she'd finally closed the door with a solid approach shot, Eala produced a perfectly executed drive volley that left the Belarusian shaking her head in disbelief. She saved the match point, then won the tiebreaker 7-5. Pandemonium. Filipino fans crying, jumping, hugging strangers, waving flags. Eala collapsed to her knees, burying her face in her hands. One of the biggest comebacks of the season. From 4-0 down in the deciding set. Saving match point. The kind of victory that defines a career. But behind the scenes, something dark was already brewing. According to multiple sources, who spoke on condition of anonymity, Sasnovich's coach didn't follow normal post-match protocol. He didn't pack up. He didn't head back to the hotel. Instead, he marched straight to the tournament referee's office with barely controlled fury. Witnesses described him as visibly upset, face flushed with anger. He demanded an immediate meeting with the chief referee and WTA supervisor. When officials suggested he file a formal protest through proper channels and come back tomorrow, he became more insistent. What he'd just seen, he claimed, required immediate action. Then he made the accusation. The Sasnovich coaching staff formally requested an emergency targeted drug test for Alexandra Eala, not a random test. A direct accusation based solely on their belief that what they'd witnessed couldn't have been accomplished naturally. Their written complaint was shockingly detailed. They cited Eala's sudden physical transformation in the 3rd set, her unusual acceleration and speed, the sharp energy spike after over 2 hours of intense combat. They pointed to video evidence of that drop shot retrieval at 4-3, claiming no athlete could cover that much ground that quickly without pharmaceutical assistance. They noted her dilated pupils on the big screen, her almost frenetic movement between points, her lack of heavy breathing during the tiebreaker. They were essentially accusing a 20-year-old rising star of cheating, of using performance-enhancing drugs to gain an unfair advantage in those crucial final moments. This isn't something you do lightly. Doping accusations are nuclear weapons in professional tennis. They destroy reputations instantly. Even when proven false, the shadow never completely fades. They can end careers, kill sponsorship deals, turn public opinion against a player faster than any on-court mistake ever could. That a veteran coaching staff would deploy this weapon against a young rising star immediately after a crushing loss says everything about either their bitterness or their genuine shock at what they'd witnessed. Tournament officials were caught completely off guard. Emergency targeted tests based solely on a coach's post-match suspicions are extremely rare and controversial. They create a hostile environment. They suggest that everything the opponent achieved was fake, but the WTA takes integrity seriously. When a formal complaint is filed with specific allegations about suspicious physical performance, officials have to act. The anti-doping machinery was immediately set in motion. Now, put yourself in Alex Eala's position. You've just pulled off the biggest comeback of your career. You've overcome what should have been impossible, saved match point, achieved something that felt destined. You're still riding the high of victory, wiping away tears of joy, hearing thousands of fans chanting your name. Instead of celebrating, you're confronted by stone-faced officials telling you you're being accused of cheating. That someone questions your greatest victory. That you need to provide a urine sample for an emergency drug test immediately. For most young athletes, this would be devastating. The euphoria would shatter. Many players would react with tears, anger, demands to know who accused them, threats of legal action. But Alex Eala showed maturity far beyond her 20 years. She didn't panic. She didn't cry. She didn't rage at the injustice of having her greatest achievement instantly tarnished. She simply complied. Professionally, calmly, without hesitation or protest. She knew she had nothing to hide. She knew her incredible third-set surge came from heart, from adrenaline, from a roaring crowd that wouldn't let her lose, from the simple fact that she's an exceptionally talented athlete who peaked when it mattered most. But there was still the excruciating wait. The sample was sent for expedited analysis. But even expedited testing takes time. For hours, Alex Eala had to sit in her hotel room, unable to fully celebrate, knowing that somewhere in a lab, experts were examining her sample, looking for evidence that she was a cheater. And then the results came back. Clean, completely clean, not a trace of anything prohibited. Just like she knew it would be, the accusers were left speechless. The test that was supposed to expose pharmaceutical enhancement instead confirmed what should have been obvious from the start. Alex Eala is just that good. This story doesn't end in Abu Dhabi, though. That alleged impossible speed that generated so much controversy, that's not an anomaly. That's her new normal. That's what she's capable of when everything clicks. Before we wrap up, a couple tournament updates worth mentioning. After exiting singles, Eala didn't pack up and go home. She stuck around to fulfill her doubles commitments with partner Jansen Chen. Despite everything she'd been through, the pair showed real promise with a strong quarterfinal win before eventually falling in the semis. There are also rumors circulating that WTA officials may be investigating the Sasnovich coaching staff's conduct regarding the emergency test demand. Apparently, there are rules about baseless or bad faith accusations, and filing a doping complaint that turns out to be completely unfounded could result in penalties for unsportsmanlike conduct. We'll be watching closely for any updates on that front. This episode raises bigger questions about professional tennis culture. Should coaches be allowed to demand emergency drug tests based purely on their subjective assessment of an opponent's physical performance? Does that create opportunities for young players to be rattled by bad faith harassment? Or is it a necessary safeguard to ensure suspicions can be promptly investigated? These are tough questions without easy answers. But it's clear the current system needs examination when it allows someone like Eala to experience this trauma based solely on a coach's inability to accept defeat. The greatest achievements of clean athletes shouldn't be immediately tarnished by baseless accusations from sore losers. There needs to be some threshold of actual evidence before someone's integrity can be so dramatically and publicly questioned. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you see the Sasnovich coach's response? Was his demand for emergency testing a legitimate concern, given the sudden momentum shift? Or was it just a salty, insulting move designed to intimidate a young athlete who just accomplished something extraordinary? Should coaches who make false accusations face consequences, or should they be free to voice any concerns, however unfounded? And what about Alex Eala's performance in that third set? Greatest comeback of her career so far. Or have you seen something even more impressive from her? How far do you think she can go? Are we watching a future Grand Slam champion being born? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one and love engaging with you. let's have a real discussion about the important issues this story raises. If you appreciated this deep dive into the Abu Dhabi controversy and valued getting the full story with all the details and context that other outlets are too scared to touch, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow and tells YouTube that people want this kind of in-depth, unfiltered tennis content. And if you haven't subscribed to Court Vision Plus yet, what are you waiting for? We don't just report scores and move on. We bring you the real stories behind the matches, the backstage drama, the scandals that mainstream tennis media is either too timid or too corporate to cover. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another upload. We've got explosive content coming your way. You never know when the next scandal might break in professional tennis, so until then, keep your rackets ready and your eyes open. We'll see you on the next one.